Now, it's important to recognise that the mallet putters have really taken the centre stage when it comes to worldwide tours. And there's a number of reasons why that is the case. And the main one is the fact that they've got higher MOI. So they're going to give you better ball speeds with off-centred strikes. So I'm excited to introduce you to the Scotty Cameron Phantom range. There's plenty of technology in these putters, so let's get into it in this video. Now, Scotty Cameron, renowned for being one of the best putter manufacturers out there on the market. And the popularity when it comes to the mallet side of things is certainly coming from tour level. If we're seeing that popularity on tour, we're going to start to see it a little bit more within the general golfer. And like I said, there's plenty of technology in these putters, and having those off-centered strikes being accompanied with that extra bit of ball speed is going to make sure that you're going to get that ball to your intended target more often. Now, when it comes to the technology, let's take a closer look at the face. Now, when it comes to the face of the putter, probably one of the most important aspects of any putter, because ultimately it's going to give you that feel, it's going to give you the feedback with every stroke out on the golf course. And like I said, we want the club to give us that ball speed with those off-centered strikes and maintain some consistency. And that's what's going to make us a better putter. If we can get that control of the golf ball all the way through the round with every shot, then we're going to lower our scores on the course. Now, it's important to understand that when Scotty Cameron make changes to their putters, they're getting feedback from tour players. What is the tour player looking for when it comes to sounds, looks, and obviously the feels off the club face? And the feedback that we've got from tour players now is that they're looking for something that feels maybe just a fraction softer off the face, but they want the consistency of the ball speeds, as we've talked about, from every strike, which is why we've now got this studio carbon steel insert that runs right the way across the face, which is going to give us that soft feel, but also that consistency with every putt. If you take a closer look at the face of this putter, you're going to see some technology called chain link. Now, this is where we're talking about the interaction between the golf ball and the putter face itself. It's ultimately going to give us that softer feel from the milling process, but we're going to get the perfect roll with every strike. And ultimately, if you're going to hold more putts, you need to get your ball to keep its line through the putt. And that's where this chain link is really going to help with your golf. So some other feedback that Scotty Cameron's had from their tour players is the depth of the face when it comes to the new Phantom range compared to previous Phantom ranges. Now, I've got a situation here now where I'm just off the edge of the green and the ball is kind of just sat up on the grass. And what tour players were saying was that they didn't like the way in which the old Phantom used to be quite shallow in its face, and the ball would actually sit quite high onto that top rail, which didn't give them a great deal of confidence. Now that we've got something slightly deeper, it's just giving that player just a little bit more, well, of a better visual when they're coming out of this semi just off the edge of the green. We've also got a little bit of a roll in the radius of this putter, and this is going to work really well when you're on kind of uneven lines where the ball is maybe a little bit below your feet or a little bit above your feet. And I've got to say, I spent a lot of time with the previous generation Phantom, and looking down at this new range, I can really see how that putter is rolling into the surface. And you got to think, ball is quite a way above my feet here, and I'm on a slight downslope, and I'm really getting the sense that it's really straightforward to get this putter flat on the surface, but also square to my intended target. That's got a chance. Oof, nearly. And finally, there's a slightly different base plate, and this one is a little bit flatter, which is going to allow that putter to sit in nice and snug behind your golf ball. Now, the Phantom range have got a number of different options available, and it comes down to the numbers written on the bottom of these putters. They go from number 3 to number 5, which is what we're using in this particular video, and that's kind of more their flagship model. Then we've got a number 7, we've got a number 9, and we've got a number 12, and one of which is going to suit your eye quite nicely. But as you work up through those numbers, you're going to see the profile of these heads just get slightly bigger and bigger. And you got to think, by the time you get to number 12, you're going to have a bigger profile of putter, which is going to give you maximum MOI, giving you maximum forgiveness running right the way through the range. Now, when it comes to the number 5, and you'll see as we've gone through this video, I've kind of used all the different models. And we've got different neck options available, and this is really important when it comes to fitting the right putter into your style of stroke, because all of these putters are going to work slightly differently for each individual player. Now, as I roll a few putts, it's really important to identify what type of putter you are. Are you somebody that has an extreme arc in your stroke? Are you somebody that has what I would call a slight arc in your stroke? Or are you somebody that likes to be a little bit more straight back and straight through? But the other thing that you need to take into consideration is your transition from the backstroke into your downstroke. Are you somebody that likes to be a little bit jerky in your reaction, or are you somebody that likes to be a little bit more silky smooth in that transition? Well, one of these putters is going to complement your stroke perfectly, because the way in which you react to the necks is really important, which is why it's so important to make sure you get the expert advice from your professional team. Now, you can see from these 4 putters that I've got here, they all hang slightly differently. We've got the onset center, which is Scotty Cameron's kind of low torque option. We've then got the mid single bend, which is going to give us a little bit more of a face balanced option. Then we've got the plumber's neck, which is going to give us a little bit of toe hang. And then we've got the jet neck, which is going to give us a little bit more toe hang. Now, these putters, like I said, are going to work differently for different strokes, and that's why it's so important to try them out to see which one is going to work best for your game. Can we get 3 in a row? 3 in a row? Well, I've got to say, putting these 4 putters to the test has been really quite interesting. And the one thing that's jumped out to me, number 1, they feel identical off the club face, which is great. The second thing is they've all started in a slightly different direction, moving towards my intended target. Now, this is the important bit when it comes to getting the putter that's going to work best for your game, is making sure when you look up that your ball is moving towards your target, but also getting it on the correct start line. And like I said before, each of these necks are going to work differently for different players out there. Now, the one that's jumped out to me is this one that I've just held all 3 putts in a row. It's the jet neck, and this is the one that tends to maybe just open a fraction for me as I kind of work my way down from the backswing into the downstroke. It's just keeping that blade open just a little bit longer, whereas when I moved into the plumber's neck, which had a slightly less toe hang, I was starting to get that ball moving a little bit down the left-hand side, and certainly saw that with a more face balanced putter as well. And this is where you need to be going and having a conversation with your foremost professional team, because getting the right head that's going to work for your game is extremely important, but getting the right neck, well, that's the bit that's really going to help hole you a few more putts out on the golf course. Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this video when it comes to Scotty Cameron's new Phantom range, but as I said, go and have a conversation with your foremost professional team and see which one of these putters is going to work best for your game this season.